IVM.
My favorite link is storytel.com/IVM, which is a lovely place to go. Best books available. I'm not saying that because they're forcing me, but stop choking me. All right, I'll do it anyway. A book I've really enjoyed, you can get it on Storytel, is by Yuval Noah Harari, not the country, not the city in Zimbabwe, but he's a fantastic writer. It's called Sapiens. It traces the evolution, basically, of man. It changes a few myths that we thought were true, but are actually myths. Like, for example, men were taller than women. Not true. In my family, women are taller than men. All this is more revealed. How society progressed, how man became man, and how you hate man and we prefer the animal, and why gorillas and man are not linked because they're nicer than us. All this is proven in Sapiens. Take a read. So keep in mind that if you go through storytel.com/IVM, you get a 30-day free trial as against a 14-day free trial on the link. All right, it's very simple. All you got to do is log on to storytel.com/IVM. Millions and millions and millions of stories, many written by me. All that and more. Find it all on Storytel. कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen, yaar, don't be so conservative.
You're listening to Cyrus Says.
Okay, we've got Cock and Bull. Jesus, I got to remember the names. Names are so difficult. Cock and Bull, we've got extra bang for your buck today. Amit, Mikhail joins us. Abbas, as always, producer, and above all, Kajol will be there. Kajol.
Why follow your auntie's advice when you can follow Cyrus Says on Facebook and Twitter to stay updated about the latest shows?
All right, Cyrus Says becomes Cock and Bull. Awkward pause because I forgot the name of my own show. This happens to anyone with my kind of disease, which is a Persian version of Alzheimer's called Palzheimer's. Not to make fun of a disease. Diseases are bad, so do not send me letters or emails. Nowadays they send emails. I keep forgetting letters. 80s. I miss those days where you could fight with the post office guys and all that. All gone. What do post office guys do now? Does anyone know? So let me rant first, because it's a true rant. I have a message to people who are walking in public, especially in places like banks, airports, cinemas. I went to see Spider-Man, one of the worst films I've ever seen. What was it called? The Wake. Far from home, and literally you felt like that after some time. And the problem is it was pretty packed, and while walking, people have this wrong idea that when you stop in the middle of a public place, without warning, then nothing's going to happen. So there's a lady who stopped just ahead of me, and I banged into her. Because you can't just, there's lots of people walking around. You've got to it's almost like a car. You've got to give a warning. I'm about to stop here. So people in the back who are following you, obviously you have a domino effect. I banged into her, and I screamed at her. Turned out to be my wife and ended badly for me. But the point is, I want people to go out there in public and look and walk, because you're now endangering people around you. Our population is too thick and it's too dangerous. And after that, I go through Spider-Man, what's it called?
Far From Home.
Far From bloody home. It was very painful. All right, it's called Cock and Bull. We'll come back with a post office story.
Filter coffee is a fascinating beverage. You need to pick the right beans, blend them in the right proportion, roast them to perfection, and slow brew at the right temperature to get the perfect cup. Which is exactly like great conversations as well. You need to track down the most interesting minds, get them into their zone, and settle down for an unhurried, unscripted chat. And coffee for me is always, always, always best enjoyed with friends. I'm Karthik Nagarajan, and do share my table as I meet some of the most interesting people I know and sit them down for a strong cup of coffee and an even stronger conversation. Join me every Wednesday for a freshly brewed episode. This is not frappe. This is the Filter Coffee Podcast.
Amit, welcome to the show.
Yes.
You are owner. Mikhail, you are young rising star. Abbas, you are producer.
Yes.
Kajol, you are why?
I am just a comedian.
No, you are lady. By government, we have a law. Mahila Mandal has called us and said 20% female representation or you're out.
Okay, fine.
So you can come anytime on any show and discuss anything. Remember that. You have that power, use it. Post office story with Amit Doshi.
Post office story. So when I was applying for colleges to go to the US, you had to, at that time, this was like, there was no electronic application. You had to actually physically send out
and wait for weeks.
wait for months.
Yeah.
Like, so I sent out all of my applications. So there were 3 colleges which I really wanted to go to, none of which I went into, Stanford, Northwestern, and Berkeley. I didn't get into any of those. And then besides
Look around at all the people who are not happy or unhappy. Nobody cares that you didn't get into Stanford. Nobody feels your pain. Pain is when you don't have 3 meals a day, when both your parents are killed because of war. Pain is when you're scorched at the age of 8 and left in an orphanage. Pain is not that you didn't get into Stanford.
I would have been a classmate of Sergey Brin. That would have been pretty cool.
Oh,
it was
shit, that is pain.
It was pain.
Why didn't you tell us that? I look like an idiot.
So what happened was that I did all my applications. So there were about 12 schools that I applied to, all various kind of mid-level good schools.
Don't put them down. There are people on the podcast who follow us who are all from these mid-level schools.
They're good schools.
Yeah, there is no mid-level school. The Indian thing. We always
University
have
of
to have a caste
Michigan,
system.
Penn State University,
I'm going to lose
UT
whatever podcast
Austin.
listenership we have.
I think these were good schools. These are all schools I applied to.
Lawrence University, Appleton.
I wanted to go to all of these schools, but then I went, and so the 3 schools I really wanted to go to, I sent by courier because it was 2,000 rupees a courier in 1992.
My God.
So, I mean, that was an insane amount of money to spend, so I was like, I can't do any more couriers, I'll send the rest by post. I went to the post office, got all of these application things done. I bought all the stamps, I gave it to the guy, and I left. 2 months later, I'm in the US. This is like early May or something like that. I'm in the US. I'm like, dude, I don't have any replies from any of my applications. How, I need to know where I'm going to college. My college is supposed to start in 3 months. Where am I going to go to college? And so I started calling all the schools, and not a one of them received my application.
Might as well go back to Stanford.
So basically, what I found out is this happened to a bunch of other people. The guy at the post office took off the stamps and just kept the applications.
Why?
And resold the stamps.
My God.
Because this was, again,
scam.
It was 11 applications. Each application had about 350 rupees worth of stamps on it.
It'll be a tough one to say. Stamp scam, stamp scam, stamp scam.
That's why I didn't take off.
But did that guy get into Stanford?
Who? The post office guy? I think he probably might have.
He's a dean at Wharton or something. We don't know. So where did you go?
I went to finally University of Delaware because they had...
so how high is Delaware in the hierarchy of...
So Delaware is a good school. It's not...
in the middle or lower?
It is...
lower middle?
So it was the number 1 party school in Playboy rankings this year.
That's all that matters.
Come back.
In the state,
The comeback is I had no sex.
America.
What's the comeback?
The entire US, right? No, so I mean, it was a party school. It's a state school. It's a party school, but it's a good school. It's got a good business school. It's got a good economics school.
Who are the famous luminaries from there?
From University of Delaware, Chris Christie.
Chris Christie, the fatso from New Jersey.
He's from University of Delaware.
Amit Doshi, what's your canteen like? But it's all big, really big.
But no, so Chris Christie is a popular alumni.
So you're politicians,
all the DuPonts. Sports people, there are a couple.
Kardashians? Any Kardashians?
No Kardashians.
No Kardashians, I'm not going.
No Kardashians.
I want a Kardashian. Because what do you say? Without a Kardashian stamp, I don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm not going for a Kardashian. Cyrus.
They're not Kardashians, they're Kardashians.
It's Kardashian?
Yeah.
You saw Kardashian?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Oh, damn, I'm going to the wrong family.
I thought
I'm so sorry.
I
You guys
also
be correct.
think
It's a free-for-all.
that guy's an alum, huh? Edgar Allan Poe.
The writer?
The writer.
The horror writer.
Yeah. So
Wow.
there used to be a
The
bar.
internet says Joe Biden is a...
Joe
Of
Biden?
course, Joe
Yeah.
Biden's an alum.
Of course, Joe Biden. You remember Chris Christie? Joe Biden might stand against our friend.
No, but I mean, like, Joe Biden is
So
a
that means Chris
Delaware
Christie
guy,
left a bigger impression. Was it the hot dog he used to eat?
I just had a conversation with this guy at NPR, who's also a University of Delaware alumni, and we were just talking about how in the 2016 elections, before Donald Trump got elected, how University of Delaware all of a sudden became like the center of politics in the Republican politics. Chris Christie was a University of Delaware guy. There's a guy named Stephen Schmidt, who was also a fairly well-known
Australian batsman.
he was a political.
Why can't we get University of Delaware to sponsor our show?
That's a good question. I will ask them to stop sending me letters to send them money and ask them to send me.
You haven't paid yet?
No, it's alumni. No, you're alumni.
To raise funds.
Yeah, and also I have the CEO thing on my LinkedIn, so they know how to.
This is never put CEO.
Yeah.
That's everybody who wants money comes after you. Nobody looks at your bottom line. They just CEO. Send something. Yeah. Amazing. What a story.
Yep.
These guys don't understand because they've never seen a post department in their life. For Mikhail, post boxes, when you after urinating, you don't put the zip up.
Right. Apparently, the WWE wrestler Raven is also University of Delaware alumni.
Raven?
Yes.
Wow.
The guy was to come with a
Now
trash
there's
can.
real respect.
Yeah.
Shit.
Kajol Srinivasan.
That guy's a legend.
Legend, man. Delaware. What do we do, we Indian? Delaware Zindabad.
Dilware.
What do we say? Help me out, man. What do we say?
Jai Delware.
Actually, it's Go Delaware Blue Hens. That's our animal, Blue Hen.
I thought that was the French
University of
animal.
Delaware Blue Hen.
Thank God it wasn't a buffalo of any kind, because then I'd have to go to government channels here before we say anything.
That's true.
Blue hen.
The Delaware Blue
What
Hen.
is a male blue hen called? A blue?
What's the show called? Cock and Bull?
Kajol, can you say something? I'm in trouble here. Start the show. Let's start the show. Enough
Let's
of your-
start the show.
How much Delaware promotion, man?
I know.
Since we started with the US, let's go with
but
the
quickly
US
go around the room.
news.
So where did you go to college, Mikhail?
I went to Xavier's Bombay.
Xavier's Bombay. Abbas, Xavier's Bombay.
Junior college? No, I didn't. I did a course from Wigan in Lay College.
Where's that? Where's that?
It's somewhere in town and it's a fashion
It
college.
was in Lower Parel. It's fashion.
We have a Wigan in Lay in Parel?
It also offers courses in media studies, which is what I did.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh God,
It
where
used
these
to be
colleges
in Parel.
coming
I
from?
don't know where it is now.
We can
Kajol,
it's still around. I
where
know
did
people
you-
who went
where
to
did you
Wigan.
go?
I did my engineering from MGM College in Panvel.
New Bombay.
New Bombay.
I don't even know how to react.
M06. M06.
Do you have any friends at all?
No, I don't. I didn't want to take the name on it.
I mean, once you say engineering, you're a female in engineering in Panvel. I mean, what's that? What's the cocktail circuit like in Panvel? What do you guys just tell us everything? We're going to get a lot of feedback for this weekend. A lot of feedback. Panvel comes back like New Zealand to defeat us.
We get fan mail from Panvel and Navi Mumbai.
We have fans from Panvel.
I love
Mail as
Panvel.
in post
fan
box.
mail. Yeah.
It's a really
No,
big college
email.
now.
It's a huge college now. Don't
Yeah.
make fun.
Okay.
You Xavierites think you're the end of the earth, Mikhail.
But we
You're not
are.
the end of the earth.
I am. I'm sorry. I'm not.
They ban red, they ban shorts, they ban skirts.
Yeah, but
What's
it's
happening there?
But it's 150
in
years
Panvel,
old.
you can wear it. 150 years old.
Yeah.
You
All right.
should know you were there.
All I remember is they used to serve something called beef curry, now extinct.
Oh yeah, that's not there anymore.
Not allowed. So there's curry.
There are many new things.
Yeah, I presume there are some interesting dishes to be had.
Of course.
As we discuss them, Abbas or Amit, you're in charge?
No, Abbas.
Abbas, you're in charge.
Donald Trump tweeted a
To you
series
personally?
of tweets, not
Yeah.
to me, but it kind of could
Sort
have
of.
been, where he was accused of racism because he asked for US congresswomen essentially to go back to their country.
So it's sexism and racism, huh?
Yes.
He's the double whammy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be something to be proud of. You didn't hit every button you could find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The four congresswomen have been the ones who've been very vocal about
Yeah.
impeaching Trump. There is
Yeah.
Ilhan Omar, there is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and there are two more whose names I can't recall.
But these two you said without blinking.
Yeah, because they are the ones who.
And when I showed you Sushma Swaraj's
They
picture.
have an active Instagram profile. That's the thing.
I showed him Uma Bharati's picture, nothing. Nothing, not a
So
word.
there's Rashida
Taleb,
and then-
Ilhan Omar.
Who's got his laptop
Ilyana.
open? Who's got his laptop
I haven't opened it yet.
open?
Okay, and there's also Aliana something from
Now you don't
Boston.
have to do the whole acting of I can't say the name, so I vaguely know it.
I vaguely know it. I do know it. It's the Boston Congresswoman.
But all four of them were born and brought up in the US.
You don't
No,
justify
three of
us.
them were.
Even
Of course, I have to justify
Don't
because he's
justify.
wrong in asking
but that's
them
what I'm
to
saying.
go
Don't
back to their
justify about
country.
them. We all know that they're absolutely in the right. There's no question.
It doesn't matter if they're born also. They're congresswomen, man.
absolutely.
They've been voted.
Well, so three of them were born, just to be perfectly
Okay.
accurate. One of them was born in Somalia and came back to
This is like asking for Mr. Obama's birth certificate and
It's
where
the
was
same
he?
thing. It's the
I
same,
mean,
but it's exactly the same thing, no?
we had a little bit of that with Rahul Gandhi's passport, which by the way has not been cleared. So does he have a British passport? Nobody seems to know.
I did not know that he had a British
That was
passport
the
at
whole
all.
controversy. And we don't have double, what's it called?
We don't have
Citizenship,
yeah.
dual citizenship.
So who just introduced it? Shashi Tharoor just introduced it,
No,
no?
it didn't introduce it some time back. It just stays in Parliament. It's not passed.
Yeah. But I hope they do it.
No, I think the big issue is they're worried about Indians and Pakistanis who have dual. Because that's a difficult
But
one
then
to
you can
clog.
always say that no Indian, no Pakistani
That's
citizen.
like racism.
Well, of course it is.
You can't do it that way.
Why you cannot do that? You can do that.
No, you can do that. You can say there's a history of war with this country
Yeah.
and things like that.
Of course you can do that.
You guys are right-wingers. Scared the crap out of me. With a name like
Sir,
Mikhail. We give
anyone
you a name
who-
so that you would be a universal donor. Now,
not-
with a name like Amit.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cyrus, anyone who has a different opinion than yours is a right winger, according to you.
Is that so?
Yeah.
You left-winger. Just to prove a point. You socialist. You commie. Is there a difference? Explain it. Because your laptop's open too.
It is, yes. So, any opinions on Trump?
No, I think
And
let's just first, I'll just say this, I'll said it immediately. The biggest supporter of Donald Trump is sitting on my right. he's the American here. Amit is the American. He's literally the American here. And so is affected on a more personal level. I think the problem with him is that he really doesn't care about the consequences of whatever he says. And it's so unstatesmanlike, and we've said this 200 times, and just continue.
He talks like he's
It's a guy in
talking
a bar.
Like he talks like he's talking in a pre-social media world.
Yeah.
That's the weightlessness
You're
with
right.
which he talks.
Your intellectual point I accept totally. Because it's what I said, but in a wiser way. But yes, no, it's true. He just doesn't think.
But why is it so surprising that Trump
It's
is
not surprising.
racist or misogynist?
It's
He's
entertaining.
so racist so openly and without
No, so
any.
this is,
And he's saying he's going by letter of the law. I'm not racist. My point is nationality. They are not American nationals in that sense.
No, but
I
they
mean,
are.
His point is if they're not happy in this country, go somewhere else.
No, but so I think
But
this
that is a very fundamentally stupid way of thinking because then your electorate just leaves. 70% say, okay, I'm not happy, bye.
But I think this is the most blatantly racist that he has been, right? I mean, like he has been...
It'll get worse, Mr. Doshi.
Well, it probably will, but he's done a lot of kind of painting around the edges, right? Stuff which is racist on the face of it, which is
Which he
problematic.
can pull back from.
But which is not this. Whereas over here, go back to where you
Yeah,
came from.
you're right.
There's no
But see,
getting
here's-
around the racism of that
Also, it's
message.
like being drunk and getting more drunk. So what happens is, if you talk a little longer, you put your foot in it deeper,
Even
and then you
deeper.
can't get out of it.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to happen as we get closer to the actual election next year. Things are going to get out of hand because he's going to say all kinds of things. His supporters will say all kinds of things.
Yeah, but I
He's
think...
already said a lot. Like
No, but
even when he's
this will
supporting,
sound like roses.
yes, when he's
Roses sound
supporting
like anything.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes.
By saying that, we both like beautiful women, no matter that, these are a bit on the young side.
I don't have such a big problem with the beautiful woman thing because.
But on the young side, no, I'm just saying that he's already in a lot of trouble.
So,
I'll-
again,
I
I
don't know what
agree
to
with
say.
you that scumbag.
It's not that I've always liked ugly women, but I can't remember the time when I did. I hope it doesn't come back. No, see, you're right. I think why are we even bothering with this point or beyond a point? Because it's a little incurable. He's drunk with his power at the moment. He still has lots of supporters. That's the sad tragedy, if anything. Not so much that he can come back to power, but that a lot of people believe that it's right to hate people, look down on people, to take prejudices seriously, and that's scary. I'm damn
one
scared.
thing that's interesting about this is I had a lot of visitors from the US over the last couple of weeks. And so we had a lot of interesting conversations around Trump. Everybody, not one of them can stand Trump. They all think
Are
he's
these
a
business
joker.
community, people with
Business
work?
community, professionals, but Indian origin people, right? And wealthy Indian origin people.
Traditionally
people,
Republican. Is that all
Republican, exactly,
rubbish?
yeah. But one of the things that came out through all of them is that none of them can stand Trump, right? All of them think that he's a disaster disaster that has happened. But they are also all really chuffed about like what he's done for the economy. They think that he's been really, really positive for it. And I was a little surprised by that
But
because
was it
that's
all-
not the narrative that we hear.
But the recession unfortunately hit them during Obama's time almost.
So recession
And then
started
the-
at the Obama time.
and then the cleanup started in the second Obama phase.
Cleanup started, but
So
right
he
now
reaps
we're
the
seeing-
rewards of that.
He's reaping the rewards, but there are some things that he has done which are kind of important, right? So one was the removal of the double Irish taxation thing, right? Or basically kind of figuring that out.
And give it to the Mexicans.
It's a fairly complicated mechanism that a lot of companies were using to keep foreign profits in
Mikhail's
abroad.
going to sleep, so be careful. We have a podcast.
I was just going to say that about you, Cyrus. I was
I
just
just
looking at
woke
your
up.
eyes.
I woke up. Okay.
Okay, but so he's gotten rid of
Amit
that.
just ignored us. Said back home with the parents are because I'll just carry on. Let the kids talk. Yeah.
What can I say? What can
The
I
double
say?
Irish tax. What the hell is that?
So it's a thing. It's a
You can't be
mechanism
Irish
that's
twice?
used that to basically you don't get taxed if you keep your money in Ireland rather than bring it back to the US.
Oh,
And
I
so
like that.
Apple
We used to
had
call
kept-
it Mauritius.
No, so it is Mauritius. It's the same thing. It's
Yeah.
almost exactly the same thing. So, for example, Apple had over $100 billion kept in Ireland, which they did not bring back to the US because they'd have to pay 30% tax on that. So he reduced the tax rates. He's rationalized some things in the tax rate systems. So he's done some stuff from a economic perspective that a lot of these guys are like.
That's
they're
all you have
not-
to do. Give a specific example where he's helped the economy and he'll get more votes.
and
You've
that-
done your bit.
Well, I have.
Go deliver. Deliver ki jai. Deliver. What is it? What have we decided
Go
on?
Delaware Blue Hands.
Jai deliver.
Jai Jai Murgi, deliver. Neela Murgi ki jai. I don't know. Help me with this, guys. Will you please write into us and give us what would be the proper translation which will fit politically with our climate as well for Delaware? And
Yeah,
the
you should
English
do that
line
on
is
Cyrus's
Go Blue
newly
Hen.
verified
What?
Twitter account. You know you have a newly verified Twitter account?
Really?
Yes.
What are you
have
saying?
a blue tick
Yeah,
now.
you have
I
a
should get a
blue
phone.
tick,
I need a
Cyrus.
phone, man. Dear self, phone, then computer, then wife. I need a real wife. This imaginary wife thing is not working anymore. I should just say I'm gay and proud. And end
Why
it.
not?
Why not?
Yeah.
She's not disappointed at all. All right.
But
So,
can I just
please,
one
please,
small
please,
point?
please.
The economy is doing well. Doesn't that fall under the whole argument that the
them eat
roads
cake.
may be really well made, but what if there are bodies lying around it?
Let them eat cake. It is a let them eat cake situation.
Okay, you've gone for two different historical perspectives, but the same ideology.
Yeah.
I like it.
No,
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, like, it is a problem. It is a concern. And I don't think that is some... So, I mean, like, to me, I don't know if something I could get beyond, right? I mean,
Right.
like, the idea, the bigotry of any
Yeah.
shape or form, right? Whether that is in the US or whether that's in India is a kind of showstopper for me. At this point in time, your arguments are no longer valid.
And we live in such a divided world. It's the last thing we need. Because people take it seriously, even if you don't. You're just some big mouth who's mouthing off and just likes the fact that he's saying shocking things sometimes. Sometimes people just do it for effect. He seems to not just think. So he just says it and says it and says it and says it. But there are people who believe it, and then you have, somebody stabbing a Sikh guy who thinks he's an Arab. I mean, it just goes on like madness.
And in his head, he's backed by the president.
Of course.
Yeah.
He is. In a way, there is a link. We can't say there isn't a link. You are the leader.
What were we talking about? Adi Godrej's thing, right, today?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. I mean, like, let's draw the parallel, right? I mean, like, over here...
Let's go to our economic expert on this issue who's sitting
I'm
with
a
us.
BMM
He's
graduate.
BMM graduate from St. Xavier's, 150 years batting, and he's with CNBC and Times now, the only guy who appears on both.
I have a column in the Times of India also.
That's right. It's called obituaries. It's very funny. You do mustaches and there people. So quickly tell us. You're the one who brought this news. So I just want to quantify so that I don't get into trouble. Parsi community is 50 people, so be careful.
I just know it because he said it at our college.
Wow.
Yeah, it raised the profile of the college
You were
massively.
there?
No, I wasn't there, but I read it.
Okay.
He basically said that an environment of fear is not conducive to growth of an economy and unemployment is at a 45-year high. Let's not pretend to continue ignoring that something has to be
He's
done.
talking about North Korea?
He's talking about India.
Just so quick, I just don't
Of
want any
course,
trouble.
yes.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Amit, now you can put it in
No, so I mean,
perspective.
I just, I mean, like, it is the same kind of thing, right? I mean, like, you can't get beyond certain things, certain issues that are there. There is always going to be, if the people who are in fundamental power in your country are going to push certain attitudes or are going to make certain types of behavior feel acceptable or less stigmatized, at that point in time, that's going to trickle down, and you're going to see that across the board. I don't think anybody serious makes the point that Modi is going out and lynching people. Nobody with a brain says that, right? But at the same time, an atmosphere has been created which makes something like that a little
Hate
more...
politics grow.
Yeah, and I think that you're seeing that over there. You're seeing that over here. You're seeing that
And in
this
many other
general
countries.
forcing- Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I discussed with
Brazil,
some people who are
Central-
intelligent. Hungary, Brazil.
Hungary,
There's so many.
Philippines.
France,
Yeah.
they're saying Le Pen is going to sweep now.
Yeah.
Macron is.
But they said it the last time as well.
No, but this time the employment issues and all kinds of things that have happened. Macron can't even talk. They boo him. They booed him at that FIFA Female World Cup thing. When I say Female World Cup thing, it's not like a second-hand thing. I just can't remember the way it's called. So it's
Women's World
World Cup. Mahila Mandal has just called up. It's the women. Kajol, yaar. You're the 20% you're saying. So they booed him there. So I'm just saying, I don't see Macron coming back.
Yeah, possible. But I mean, like, you're seeing a rightward shift, right? I mean, like, you are seeing a general rightward shift. You're seeing a nativist shift across
Except
all kinds of
ironically in
countries.
Pakistan, where Imran became.
But he's also taken help from the religious extremists.
You try to run Pakistan. What do you think?
No, thanks.
Do you think anyone can just stand up there and say, I'll change everything? It's going to happen.
No, of course not. But at the same time, it is what it is, right? I mean, like, there's no denying the fact that he has taken support from.
Yeah.
Because when you enter a system, he can't just obliterate the system.
Agreed.
That's
I
not
don't
going to happen.
disagree with you.
Now
I
he has to
don't-
try and we have to see what he can do and be optimistic.
I absolutely understand
At
that.
the moment, making more statesman-like sentences and statements than Donald Trump.
I understand that politics is the art of the possible. I absolutely understand that, right? So I mean, like,
It's a punt,
I
bro.
get what
It's
you.
always
I
a
get,
punt.
Yeah, no, I get that you do what you need to do to kind of, like, move things forward in a certain direction. I understand that, but that doesn't negate that you've done what you've done, right?
But it brings us back to Donald Trump and the so-called racist, sexist comments. We'll go around the room as we go into break.
Yeah.
And expecting worse, Kajol, from him as we go forward. And him setting the standard for other statesmen.
Obviously. But then that's what his supporters want, right? He's playing into them. So, yeah.
So what you're saying is now his reputation and his own myth is there, and he needs to play that card, because otherwise people will say, hey, Donald, you're not Donald.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like when you become a comedian, Mikhail, and after some time everybody says, tell me a joke. That's
Yeah.
very painful.
Yeah.
And
that's
I can't
exactly
remember,
like that.
I can't remember the hooker's name in Amsterdam, but I was like, why? But he was like, come on, man. You don't have money, tell me a joke. All right, we'll take a break and we'll come back.
Advertising is dead. Yep, you heard me right. Advertising is dead. We're all in the content business now. Let's not call it news, TV, radio, etc., etc. It's all content, and we're in the middle of this weirdly exciting phase where all the borders and lines that have been drawn over decades has been swept away by this lovely thing called the internet. We're a show where we don't dwell on just the stuff that is now, but rather the wider stuff about advertising, media, content, and the whole goddamn circus surrounding it. Tune in every Tuesday for our weekly unboxing of the mystery box we used to call advertising. I'm Varun Dugirala, co-founder and content chief at The Glitch, and this is my new podcast, Advertising is Dead.
All right, back here with happy people on a podcast called Cock and Bull, with lots of very, very powerful things happening in our country as we speak. For example, I'm told the road is being repaired here.
You've been told wrong, Cyrus.
SV Road, have you seen it?
Ever not
outside
being
the studio.
There's no repair happening behind the barrier.
I come here for the show only on Tuesdays, right? So I see it on a 7-day basis with a break. And every 7 days it's 1 foot less because they've started more road repair.
But they're not doing anything.
I don't know. So now we took the 4-wheeler. I had to go on 2 wheels. You know, I used to turn on the side like that.
In Rohit Shetty movies.
Rohit Shetty movies. That's exactly right.
I was going to go a little older than that, but okay.
Thank God he saved us.
Yeah, I know. I can't remember what that older movie was.
I was thinking of Viru Devgan. The fight master, which obviously people know. So thank God I'm okay then. Yeah.
Rohit Shetty gave his son.
Do we have a Google that we can, when we do references, Amit and me, you can immediately Google the right reference for 2026. So we look okay. We should have that.
No,
Get that app done.
Google hasn't advanced that.
Call
much
Google
yet.
now.
Of course.
Or as we say in Marathi, Google. Kajol, you're going to take over this entire conversation. You haven't spoken in the first half. Amit, what's the topic?
That's a good question. Let me see.
Sorry, we don't have a topic. So just wing it. Tell us anything.
The bottle cap challenge stuff.
The bottle cap challenge.
Are you aware of
You
this?
did one, right?
I did one. Then I was called to do it again, but I forgot to.
Well, did you do it on your verified Twitter account or did you do it on your verified Instagram account?
Verified Instagram account.
Your verified Instagram account? Do you know what the account is?
He's uncomfortable saying
I'm not familiar with this entire medium. It sort of escaped me. It's like a dark age.
So let me kind of let people know. It's Board Brocha. Please do follow it.
Oh, that way. That was I thought I'd explain Instagram as a concept. I was like, man, this is not going to be fun for anybody. Let's
But now I'm curious, how would you explain Instagram as a concept?
I don't know, it's these small videos that young people watch
That's TikTok.
That's really young people who we shouldn't be dating watch. And the only person I know who does this is Kunal, my friend who's 65. Mm-hmm. And he's like a young teenager, so I get a lot of news from him as well. Because he's always on the phone looking at cats yawning and sending me pictures of a dog urinating on a man's leg. And, for him, after all these years of reading, writing and seeing things, it's great that's what tickles his fancy. And hence he dresses up in drag every 2 days. But, I don't want to explain that.
Did you watch Salman Khan's bottle cap challenge?
I watched Dabangg. I felt it encompasses his entire talent repertoire. I don't feel the need to go beyond Dabangg 2. There's a 3, right?
3 is on
and then the bottle challenge is the 4th, is it?
More or less, yeah.
Okay, so let's ask the one person who's got the insider's eye, because
Sure.
you're Bollywood.
I'm not.
But there's an actress
wrong
called Kajol.
Kajol. Wrong Kajol.
Right.
But okay, I've seen all the bottle cap challenges.
Really?
Yes, and I think that if you want men to do something stupid, you should make it into a challenge.
Right, like marriage.
Exactly.
So what does he do for those who haven't seen it?
He kind of pretends he's gonna, kick it. He does a namaste in the middle, and then he just swipes off the bottle cap and drinks some water.
And then thumbs up. A brand comes through and he gets money.
Not
No,
really.
he gives an environmental message. Save water.
Save water, but kill the cap.
Yes, just the cap. Just the cap.
I'm just saying, I don't understand this whole Instagram movement, man.
And for some reason, after doing that, he does the cross across
Oh,
his
yeah,
chest.
I found that.
So there's a namaste, there's a cross. And
So it's a Manmohan Desai production.
more
now.
or less, yes.
We're back to the Congress way. So at least everybody's being placated. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Have you done it, Mikhail? Have you done this
No.
challenge?
No.
Okay.
I think the person who got this right was Ryan Reynolds. Did you guys ever see that?
Ek haath se Salman Khan.
he
Ek
did
haath se
the
Ryan Reynolds.
bottles journey of throughout the day. That was
The bottles journey, but basically it was a brand of gin that he has invested in himself.
Oh yeah, that was nice.
I think that's the smartest way to do this kind of thing, right?
Yeah, plug your
I
own
thought you were making
investment.
fun of
brand.
Deadpool.
Oh.
I just thought you were making fun of that
No,
whole
I wouldn't make
Deadpool.
fun of Deadpool. Deadpool does not deserve being made fun
You
of.
like Deadpool? I like Deadpool.
I love that.
Deadpool.
I think all Indian actors should wear masks. I think that's the message I got out of it. All right, enough of the water bottle challenge.
Yeah, sure.
But since we talked about plugging, Mikhail, you should plug your podcast.
Oh, my
Hey, what's your podcast called?
Water Player.
Water Player.
WADD.
Yeah.
What a player. Comes out every Wednesday on the IVM network.
On the IVM network, really?
Are you the only person on the podcast?
I have two co-hosts with me, Akash Mehta and Siddharth Dudeja. We just, we are
I like
talking
that you said the names fast. So it's Mikhail.
It's Mikhail Almeida and Siddharth Dudeja and Akash Mehta.
We'll drown them with music.
Yeah. So
word.
we're dropping an episode this week covering the two great finals we saw over the weekend. You should check it out.
And Lewis Hamilton's sort of final also.
Yeah, we casually mentioned
one line.
Yeah. Actually, it was literally one
At the same time, in Ghatkopar, Mumbai, there was a badminton club tournament.
I should get in on that.
Yeah.
Why
A friend of mine took part.
Ghatkopar?
I have a house there.
Okay.
We've just sold it actually.
You're not asking about why you're aware of Ghatkopar's badminton tournament. You're asking about why you're aware of Ghatkopar.
My father-in-law worked in Mahindra as his last thing, I think.
Okay.
And so they had a house in Mahindra Park.
Okay.
So when I was dating, what is my wife's name? Kajol?
I have no clue, Cyrus.
Google it. Mrs. Brocha. So I had to go there. She used to stay there for some time. So I was a South Bombay boy going to LBS Marg, while it was being dug up. And I don't know if you guys have ever gone through that. That is actually the moon. The moon is second. It was unbelievable. Many people have just passed away, expired there. There's just no way out. It was just unbelievable.
Yeah, I can buy that. Ghatkopar.
It really strained our marriage because I said, she's not Marilyn Monroe. Lovely girl and all that. What am I doing?
Wow.
Who does that?
Okay. I hope she doesn't listen to this.
Which wife listens to their husband?
Does she have a phone?
My wife?
Yeah.
Yeah, she has a phone.
Okay.
You can only read Cyrus through Kunal Vijaykar or his wife.
Kunal is like 12. My wife is tech savvy enough.
Okay.
Not like Amit, but tech savvy enough. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, quick word about the Karnataka government, the dilly-dally.
Except that as we record, anything might be happening in the background, so we look like fools. But
it's happening today, right? Though
Thursday.
This episode drops.
Kumaraswamy has grown 5 years in the last 6 months. Because every couple of weekends, people are running away to resorts. It's just ridiculous. But it's a sign of the times. Now, what can we do? This is democracy. You want democracy? This is what you get.
Yeah.
And it's
you think they'll survive?
See, even if they do survive, the anxiety that the man goes through and the cabinet goes through, and then look at the state. What can they do? All they're doing is fighting to keep people inside a house every week.
Right.
So how can you do any progressive things? How can you do anything with your position as government when all you're doing is trying not to get divided and reform a government? That's all. That's where they are. It's a house divided. It's going to be like that. I think we should change the rules a little bit.
But what are the rules that you can change, right?
No, that you can't touch it for a certain amount of time. Once you cross the line, even 51-49, you can't touch the government for 6 months or 1 year. Because if the mandate is small, you must probably have a quicker recall.
But it's been a year, right?
No,
they've had 3 heart attacks along the way already.
No, but even if it has...
Eagleton Resorts have made so much money from them alone. They don't need your clientele. They just have to check, government assembly, chalo, 50% off. And boom, by the way, it's a 7-star. Huh? How come they never go into guest houses? Why aren't they at Sherwani guest house lodging with broken windows and all? Why is it Eagleton? Have you been to Eagleton? It's a golf course. And I've actually heard this. The Mantris actually, the MLAs actually want to play golf.
This is in Bombay, right?
Eagleton is in Karnataka. They came to Renaissance in Powai.
Renaissance, that's what it is.
Yeah, where they got a special deal. I know the management. You guys want?
Yeah,
okay, we'll figure something
How do
out.
they manage security when you have so many MLAs in
Nobody
there?
wants to touch them. So the security guards put their hands up. It's the first time the reverse happens. MLA walks by, he goes, ah! It's a reverse. It's a beautiful thing. The Labrador leaves. Tommy, kya ho gaya? Mantri. Tommy, come back. No.
No, but
Tommy's
the
gone.
guests, what about the normal guests? Like, do they...
Normal guess, if you're a foreigner, what do you know? We all Indians look alike for them. So it doesn't matter.
That's true.
No, but that's a good question. And it brings us back to that whole thing about 10,000 rupees charge on double parking for those of us who are self-motorists.
Right.
Did you all see one of the papers carry them? Huh?
When did you talk about this? In the past or the present?
Yeah, Kajol's looking at me like, what is this related to?
We spoke about this in the lavatory just a few minutes back. But it is 10 grand for those who don't know, which is a ridiculous figure.
Yeah.
And there's a picture in the paper the other day which shows the mayor's Innova or something parked in a no parking zone. And that's it, the first person of Mumbai, so to speak. So, and of course, there's no charge.
Is the mayor of Mumbai now an influencer? Like, he's purposely got into this situation to, like, get everyone aware of this?
Oh, he's dying on his own sword. I'll spend 10 grand of my government's money.
So can I just say that I think that they should do a 10,000 rupee fine for this?
I don't have a problem with the fine. I'm saying, will you catch other people? Or will you have a culture where only you catch a certain amount of...
Yes.
So here's the problem, right? I mean, like, are you...
Do you know how many policemen break the law, Amit?
I know.
They double park everywhere.
I know.
They hold up things. They go up one way. They don't wear helmets.
I think
on
they
the
should
bike.
be charged for all of it.
They don't charge them.
But they should.
They break the red light
But
in
is
front of me.
that-
I'm saying, what are you doing? They say, what are you doing?
But is that...
That's the answer. Answer is to repeat the question. Just like me in my Marathi paper.
But aren't these-
Maji ai, Maji ai. You don't just say that. You have to write about Maji ai.
But aren't these different problems, right? I mean, like the fact that people are taking advantage of their particular positions.
I get where you're
but not
coming
get
from.
charged.
I get where you're coming
But
from.
this-
That doesn't mean you don't install a punishment
Yeah.
for civic society. But I believe the middle class are the targets of the world. Middle class people suffer the most. You see, we always have schemes for poor people, and rich people get away with murder. So it's this big middle class who pay the taxes and have to pay the fines and get scared of everyone. When will we rise? When? Achtung! I mean, Kripaya, listen to me.
I have a question.
Please do.
I believe all these fines are accumulating on the net somewhere, and you've got to log in and check it out.
Yes.
Yes, it's
So
they have like a scene feature where if you log in, they now know you've logged in,
So now
and it's considered intimation.
Yeah.
It's like if you've logged in,
CC.
yes, if you've logged in and not paid your thing, it accumulates and they're like we know you
know,
saw it,
yeah.
don't lie.
And
Okay,
now-
I have a question. What
Yeah.
if you don't log in?
I don't know. I have not
No,
logged
so
in.
then when they catch you, when they catch you, they log in on your license. And
Okay.
then they're able to see the fines and then they inform you, sir, 45,000 baki hai. And then you tell them, mera gaadi ka कीमत है 35,000. So आप 10,000 गाड़ी लेके मेरे को 10,000 दे. And we work out a deal. But I'm sorry to tell you, my driver was telling me the other day, and he earns, let's say, 15 grand a month or something like that. I don't know, Aisha pays him.
He earns-
And he was
okay.
saying, the 10,000 kahan se aayega? No, supposing he's alone, for example, for whatever reason, or say he's 2 hours away from town. So how's he going to... I mean, there's also madness to it.
I also like if you're putting such a heavy fine on parking, people are going to take other modes of transport. And what are we supposed to die on the bridges? Are we supposed to walk on shit
Look,
laden
Mikhail, you
footpaths?
have to start telling them jokes, and then you tell them now you owe me 40 grand. Say your rate is 50,000 for one evening's work or whatever. So you say I'll tell you 10 jokes, and you give me 40 grand back. So then adjust it.
The thing is that good enough or something good cannot be sacrificed at the altar of the perfect. And that is something which is what...
I try to keep him off the podcast. He owns it. I can't control it. But it's just, it's like this guy with the cricket equipment. No. Okay, Akash, you bat first. Remember how the Maharaja Patiala was it who captained India? I mean, nobody could say no. He bought everything, he brought everything together.
Okay, I don't know what to say to that.
Go on,
but
go on.
my
Sorry.
point being that basically, I mean, like you cannot make good the enemy of the perfect, right?
Yeah, but there's madness to this law. The law can be an ass
the law
sometimes.
is necessary. I think that we have an
It
issue.
sounds great because you want to stop them, but when you don't, it's look. I drive more than you. Trust me, it's just frustrating.
You drive more than me,
No,
but I
nobody
probably spend
follows.
more time on
Today,
the
while
road than
coming to
you
your
do.
thing, we are standing at this thing at the red light right here after you cross the bridge at the ceiling. Everybody else broke it to turn left to come into Bandra.
Huh.
They all break it because they're regular, so they must have just figured out that they don't get a challan on this.
Regulars know where the
They know
cameras
the
are, where
cameras are,
cops
whatever, but we are
stand.
scared, so we don't do it.
Right.
I'd like two-wheelers to be fined for driving
They
on the wrong
can't,
side of the
they can't
road.
zoom in on the
They
two-wheeler.
should.
The two-wheeler does not respect the red
Yes.
light or anything.
But
they can't zoom in on the number.
They're never on the right side of the road.
No, there's no right side. They forgot what that was.
Yeah.
They don't have it in.
See, on the car, the driver's on the right side, so there is
Yeah.
a side to a car. They're in the center, no. So there's
Basically,
no.
whoever else.
They're on the... I'm going this way. They're coming straight at me.
But they're on the center of the bike,
She's walking.
so they can go anywhere.
Yeah, I think bikers should be charged $50,000 for just being on a bike.
Wow, okay.
I would-
All
I would
bikers
support
just been tuned out
Board
of this
Brocha
episode.
on Twitter and Instagram. Please respond.
Listen, our bikers aren't like those Harley Davidsons in California or whatever. They are some puny 40-kilo guys with these long handlebars
God.
who look really
Brocha.
wrong on the damn bike. You know, sometimes I even tell them, boss, pakro, nahi to hawa se uth jayega tu. Because, you can see them also holding it and you can see the hawa is pushing the guy off. So let me tell you, don't get hustled by everybody. Let's stand up and fight now. We must fight against the two-wheelers. Two-wheeler
Doesn't your
injustice.
IBN producer Mohit Mahale drive a
That
two-wheeler?
idiot fell off the bike coming from Matunga,
my
which is 1
God.
kilometer away from Parel. It's not even long. He fell off. And I told him, the center of gravity when you're 105 kilos shifts very easily. So be careful. You go right, then like the earth goes right with you. It's difficult. But I don't know.
Okay.
We started with a 10,000 fine, just to remind everyone.
Mikhail, do you ride a bike?
No.
Do you go a
What's wrong
stationary
with
bike
you?
in the gym at least?
No.
So you have no bike culture.
Yeah.
Kajol, bike?
A car.
Wow. You have lots of money.
No, it's a small car.
What is that? How do you define small car? I could buy a Ferrari. It's a small
Well,
Ferrari.
your 40,000 fine, which is going to come to me, I can exchange my car for it. It's
I
an
don't
old
buy
small
it. She's
car.
acting like she's poor. I hate that. Sounds like a South Bombay person working in Lokanwala. It happens to all of us. And suddenly you have to act poor. Acting poor is a really painful thing, man. Because then you forget. Suddenly, you slip. Amit, must have happened to you, no? Because we are born here and then we work there, so we all have to act like, abhi kaisa ghar kaisa jayega and all that. We can't say we called Raju and told him to stay at the corner. Because then they all catch us. It's very
I don't
embarrassing.
have a Raju to stand at the corner.
You're a cheap Guju Baba. You can, if you want, you'll keep a Raju. You don't want to keep a Raju, what can I do? By the way, when I say Raju, I mean anyone. Huh? We got Raju is fighting us. There's a guy who rides a bike whose name is Raju, who's paid a 10,000 rupee fine, who hates us. Yeah. But bikers should talk. Bikers should stand up for themselves and explain why they behave like this.
It's like you just abuse them for 5 minutes.
No, it's like,
they should talk.
No, explain. So I'm saying it's a democracy. Now you give us your feedback. Why are you on the pavement? Why are you squeezing? Why is a bike driving parallel to your front of your car? The side of the bike is parallel to the front of your car. How does that happen? We are all going, say, on Worli Seaface in this direction. He's going in that direction.
There's a bike on Worli Seaface. That's the problem to begin with.
They come on the link when they feel like it. Trust me.
Oh, God.
They just pretend they're cars. Make more sound.
They make for great chase sequences in movies. So.
Not Bajaj Platina 100. That's not the bike in the chase, Abbas.
That's true. Man, that's really India come a long way. The Bajaj Platina is the hero's preferred mode. Somebody's chasing the hero and he says, don't worry, Shanti. Bajaj Platina. Tan, tan, tan. And then he can't start it.
Someone needs to give Cyrus a movie to direct. I feel it will be very entertaining.
Okay, let's do the last one.
After this podcast.
Which one do you want to do? You want to discuss Kangana Ranaut? You want to discuss the NIA? Or you want to discuss Scarlett Johansson?
Scarlett Johansson.
You know there's a topic to these things. Right? And it's not.
He's like saying Scarlett Johansson.
Okay, let's go with Kangana then.
Okay.
Did you see the spat she had with a journalist?
I did not understand it. Can somebody explain
Can you set it up for those who didn't see it?
I read it, but it made no sense to me.
No, so
it didn't make sense
did you see the altercation?
No, I did not.
Okay, so there was she was promoting her upcoming film when one of the journalists asked her a question. Now, this journalist has been calling out her hypocrisy on a lot of issues through his social media.
Okay,
where she
his
says
so there's personal angst between the two.
Right. So when before he asked a question, Kangana said कि आप तो हमारे दुश्मन बन गए हो, आप बोल रहे हो कि हम jingoistic हो गए, ये हो गए. You have dined with me.
Did she say jingoistic or zingoistic? Because a lot of Indians say zingoistic for jingoistic. Huge problem for me.
She said that.
And if you're on a bike saying it, I don't like you.
She said you interviewed me in my van, I served you food, drink, blah blah blah. Where he said all of that is untrue. That did not happen. You're essentially making up stories.
But anyway, production will pay for the food. It's not a personal thing.
Like it's untrue according to him.
No, but it's not from the personal finance. Okay.
Then a lot of other journalists also accused her of making up stories and saying that she's been pacifying journalists, but journalists have an agenda against her because essentially she and her sister have been outspoken about supporting the government, and that's why there's an agenda against her. Okay. So the Journalists Guild has now decided to boycott her. Which is that they won't attend her press conferences. They won't review her
she
films.
got quite first they boycott Vikas Bell for making Queen, and now her. I mean, just that whole thing is there's a problem with the entire
separate issues.
Yeah.
So that's the news. Kangana says that there's
the setup was great, but nothing really happened. It was like my Swagra. Lots of expectation. Sorry?
She's being boycotted by the press.
And she has a movie to promote.
I think it's a publicity stunt.
Because, she's too big a star, one. She's controversy's child. Everybody will cover her in other ways. So it always work in her favor. I don't see it affecting anybody. It's not like the old days when print media was king. So Amitabh Bachchan had a fight with them. They would actually not, talk to him for months.
What was that? That was Stardust magazine.
Stardust magazine.
Yeah,
so many of them went against them.
Yeah.
But there was one platform. Now there's so many. There are enough people who will cover you. One. And two, she's too big. I don't
She's already made a video condemning the
Of course. Look, we're talking about it right now. She's getting more publicity than 3 other films that are releasing. Because this podcast is talking about her. This very podcast. IVM's very own Cock and Bull, which used to be called Cyrus Says, but because of government regulations, it changed the name.
Yeah. I read something recently which was very interesting that Sunil Dutt and Nargis were actually in favor of the emergency because they were close to Indira Gandhi when she imposed it. So this actors supporting a government is not new. I mean, we call out Akshay Kumar.
It's not new.
We call out Akshay Kumar and Kangana for supporting.
Okay, so first and foremost, in the 70s and all that, alignment will not be known. It'll be difficult because they are a small group of the mafia that controlled worlds.
That's because there
was one party
mass media wasn't as
one party, but you had your favorite politicians and all that. But the mass media was not there to see and check everything. And secondly, you didn't promote yourself in this way. She and some of the more outspoken ones promote themselves. But look, it's their business. I don't see how you can hang them.
She went on.
But it's her business in a democracy to align herself, whether she's right or wrong.
That is fine, but she made a video calling this journalist out being an anti-national for criticizing her movie. Like how?
Manikarnika, she said it's a great movie. He called it jingoist. It was jingoistic. I mean,
he has the right. He has the right.
It's a sign of a mentally healthy person to live in the past. I agree.
When are you guys going to understand the real problem? The real problem is not Kangana or the journalist or the stupid film. The real problem is the bikers.
Yes.
I brought you here in this forum. Put your hand up and say enough. India, enough.
Put your hand up on a podcast.
If you see a if you see a two-wheeler, Kajol, now violence has to...
Kick it like road rash.
I don't want... Yeah, I think violence is the next step.
Please
It is going to happen.
I am starting the bike Sena, which actually doesn't make sense.
Yeah, why would you do that?
Their party, but I didn't think it through, so this is the way it is now. Too late. Are you part of the bike Sena?
Because of the metro work,
You're not answering.
They kind of put both the lines of traffic on the same side of the road in Malad and Goregaon.
Yes.
And the bikes are always on the outside of the line anyway. And there's no divider. So yeah, you can go for it.
They just go wherever they want. That's what I'm saying.
No, you can knock
Imagine
them
if these bikers, the metaphor was men who are allowed to just breed anywhere. This is the behavior. You'll have children with everybody all over the place. I mean, you got to stop it somewhere. So similarly, we got to stop the bikers. I say we take out one tire. Let's see how fast they can go on just one wheel. Maybe a whole different... I've seen a circus act like that. Took hours. The guy couldn't bring his cycle in for half an hour. The bearded lady had to entertain us for 25 minutes extra.
I don't take off the tire on my own car, Cyrus.
What?
I don't take off the tire on my own car. I get someone to do it.
Do you just walk away from your car when you
1 minute. Reverse sexism. 1 minute. All this feminism, and then suddenly the tire goes, hey, ladka. Oh, one second.
It's not a
You get
ladka.
females to do it.
It's
You
not
get females to do it.
It's not
There's
a
female to do
ladka.
it.
It's excuse me, sir.
Someone has to call her out. You're part of that bike Sena. Oh, sorry. Going back to what we're here for, which is peace, love, sunshine.
Yes.
It's time for the AMAs.
Hey everybody, welcome to another awesome week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you are not following us on social media, please make sure you do. We're IVM Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Do remember that if you enjoy what you're listening to, take a screenshot, tag us on social media, and we'll repost you on one of the platforms. Also, just, shout out if you want to tell us anything about what's going on. Also, a quick reminder, we are still hiring. We're hiring in a whole bunch of different areas. If you're looking to work at what I believe is the best place on earth to work at, then you should check out our careers page. That's at ivmpodcast.com/careers. On the scene and the unseen, Amit Verma is joined by one of his most frequent guests, Vivek Kaul. They discuss the budget announced for the year 2019-2020 and answer listener questions in the second half. On The Origin of Things, Chuck narrates the story of purity, an outdated beverage, and a business deal. On Not Just Dansak, Farzan talks to Kaina's contractor, co-founder of Rustam's Parsi Bonu, restaurant that serves home-style Parsi food in Delhi. On Geek Fruit, Tejas and Jishnu are joined by stand-up comedian Rohan Joshi. They talk about the new Spider-Man movie Far From Home. On Advertising is Dead, Pratish Mepani, founder and creative director at Starting Monday Design and Branding Company, talks to Varun about how the concept of design in India has evolved over the years and the importance of it in trade and business. On Pulyabazi, Pranay and Saurabh are joined by Anup Rajput, engineering head at Incus Technology, to discuss semiconductor microchips, their supply and manufacturing, and how it affects geopolitics between India, China, and the US. On the Empowering series, Zarina is joined by Ambar Rana, founder, Corpus Legal, and host of the podcast Know Your Qanoon. They talk about gender equality, the importance of diversity at the workplace, and gender neutral laws. On Golgappa, Trupti talks to Anuya Jakatdar, co-founder of Books on Toast, about her love for books and what it was like growing up in a Marathi household. And with that, let's continue on with your show.
If you have any questions for Cyrus, write to us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Or you can send an email to whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
All right, what's up in the AMAs?
Okay, first question's from Anand Hegde. Anand says, I'm a 90s kid and have seen Team India go through many ups and downs. Heartbreak in cricket ideally shouldn't affect you because it's just a game. But how do you handle heartbreak in cricket?
Well, there's worse to come. Because you're a young man and, cricket means a lot to you. You invest a lot in it. Then girls, and then they destroy your face. Then family, first your wife, and then your children, then your parents. So at the end of it, I would think that you'll say the cricket pain was nothing. It was like a boil. Because of the herpes that will follow, the hemorrhoids that will come, and the male pregnancy that will make you feel 9 months of unbelievable, unconditional pressure in the very bowels of your existence. So young man, enjoy the pain. This is nothing. I would say it's As You Like It against Hamlet, if you know your Shakespeare.
The joy from his face drips on the floor, man. Literally drips on the floor.
But having said that, I felt a lot of pain 3 times. First when India lost, then when Australia lost to England, and then when New Zealand lost to England.
Yeah.
So I had 3 losses almost in a row. It was very painful for me. Yeah. And then my wife was saying, put the TV off, put the TV off.
It was like a combination move.
It was, wasn't it?
Okay, so, the next one is from Sai Aditya. Kind of an ageist question. He says, of late I have observed a peculiar trend in Generation Z kids. These Instagram-obsessed kids stuff their posts with multiple hashtags and put a motivational quote or write something random about attitude and stuff under their very own picture. What do you think of such fake intellectualism? Do Generation Z kids even care a damn about history, politics, society, or even cinema, etc.?
It's a beautiful... I don't know where to start again because I don't know what Z thing... I thought it was a television channel which I didn't watch.
Did you think this is a generation sponsored?
What the hell is he
by
talking about?
ZTV?
An ageist question. I thought it was the reverse ageist, but it's not the way I thought it. Kajol, would you have an answer to this? Because
I think
who's the youngest here? Sorry,
I am.
Mikhail.
So are you a Generation Zist?
No. I'm a little before that.
You're a millennial?
Yeah, I'm millennial.
No, you're not millennial. You're younger than that.
I'm 92.
Post 85.
Okay.
Until 96, I think.
Till 96
Is
is the millennial
millennial.
So
generation.
Kajol is...
No, I'm not
You're
a
both
millennial.
millennial.
I'm not a millennial.
Oh, you're not even a millennial?
No.
Okay, what the hell, man? Okay. So, who's the
I
youngest?
think these things vary a lot. I mean, like, just from they fluctuate all over the place. People call different people different ages. What is a millennial? What's a Gen X? What's a Gen Y? What's a Gen Z? It's all very...
Gen Z is my aunt.
1980 is when millennial starts until 96, and Gen X.
There's no exactness because I remember
47 India
I
got
was in
independence.
college. At that point in time, Gen X was supposed to end at 1974.
56
Right.
was the Hungarian uprising.
And then it went to 1978. Then it went to 1980. Then it went to 1982.
62 China.
It's just...
71 Gavaskar West Indies. I don't know. I'm just thinking what I remember.
Okay, the point here being
But his question is totally different, huh?
Yes, the
Yes.
quotations and the hashtags.
The philosophy thing.
Yeah, and everyone's doing it. It doesn't matter which
Yeah,
generation.
Yeah,
you're
no,
from.
I
Who
think
can
that's a
explain
good
that?
thing to do, right? You
Yeah,
gotta
right?
hack Instagram. If you want to get more followers, you gotta do the hashtags and you gotta do the quotes and you gotta do the...
Are you telling me this?
I am. Board brochure on
But I
Instagram.
just
You
find it
seem to
very-
follow a lot of sassy accounts on Instagram. I wouldn't beg you to be a follower of
I'm
thing
not
is,
a
you know-
sassy account. I look at anybody's account. It's all the same kind of stuff.
Yeah,
man.
it's all a picture for personal gratification
Yeah.
put with a motivational quote.
There you go.
Which is a great
and
template.
hashtags.
But I just think of the second greatest line in the English language from Hamlet, to thine own self, and this above all, to thine own self be true, the first line being, oh shit. I just, if to do all this, if you're trying to be true to yourself, then what will you end up writing? Because sometimes I wake up and the only thought in my mind is motherfucker, and it's just filled with rage.
Yeah, that doesn't give you likes, but
But no, it does. Or it seems to, because sometimes it's just, people are just, worse than Donald Trump, they're just sprouting. So I just do an inner edit. Little filtering has to happen. Because if the filtering doesn't happen, then we're animals.
But
And
I don't
although
think
love
it's
animals,
that. Honestly, I don't see a problem here, right? I mean, like, it's
But
just
don't
using
filter.
the tool for the way the tool is meant to be used. And
don't say tool. My generation tool means something else.
I meant
Use the right
Instagram.
terms.
That's why I was trying to clarify. Instagram
How
is the
can you
tool
say that? You
I'm
betrayed
referring
me. Our tools, which were never polished then.
I find quotes very pretentious.
I agree with you.
Yes, and it's generally on their picture of themselves looking into the distance.
Also,
that's
Well,
mad. What is wrong with
Yes. Oh, boy, it's ridiculous.
I love it.
A 40-year-old guy says, to thine own self be true. And then he says, hi, my name is Prakash and I've got influenza and I'll die in 3 days.
No, it's wonderful to see young 18, 19-year-olds who obviously do not know the depth of the quote, put it on their picture.
Oh, from that perspective, yeah. Then that's good.
It's
I didn't think of
great.
it that way. You're just a happy person.
Yeah, his point is it's so bad that it's good.
It's good. It makes him happy.
Yeah.
Me, I don't know, I get
It's
bored.
the form, man. I mean, like, seriously, Instagram's a weird form. Think about
But also, Amit, think of our personality. See, I'm not a listener.
No, you're not.
So people aren't listeners and I can't sit through somebody else.
No, but who's the poet who got really popular on Instagram a while ago? The Indian girl.
Aranya. Aranya Johar.
Aranya, no.
So that's Karan Johar. He's a director.
Aranya's been on the show.
On Instagram.
Rupi Kaur. That's it.
Rupi Kaur,
Rupi Kaur, right? So, I mean, like...
Rupi Kaur, she's been on the show.
No, she's not on the show. Aranya Johar has been on the show.
400 episodes. I can't remember. I can't remember why I was on the show.
Yeah, Aranya was on like one of your New Year's things, right?
was
I mean,
on.
like when
Cock and Bull, yeah.
we were doing like a youth thing that time she was on.
Now she can't qualify because as you change the rules, now she's no longer youth.
No, but what I was saying is that something like Rupi Kaur, right? That kind of poetry, that's something that happened because of Instagram, right? That kind of poetry would otherwise never happen, which is picture-based, somewhat short form, kind of this, right? So, I mean, like, these mediums lead to new forms, and I don't think that that's a bad
So we
thing.
shouldn't rubbish it. We should salute the
Essentially,
new,
stuff
accept it,
a
and stop
format
being
and words that
fuddy-duddies.
fit on your phone screen.
I don't know. I thought aging is all about being more cynical, and as you get more cynical, more hatred, and more anger, and more
You
pent-up
don't say.
anger. So I think that's the way the future is.
It is, and that's
Thank
what.
you for joining.
Yeah.
There's another one by Nikki who asks, Cyrus, do you throw tantrums at Amit and Abbas considering you're a big deal at IVM?
Please, it really sounds like this now sounds like my family sending things in for some reason. You should answer, guys. So I don't throw tantrums.
No, not at all. Easiest guy in the world to work with.
But I talk a lot, and it's veiled criticism I get from Abbas, but nothing bad.
Your tantrums come on air, like when you bang the table and you shout.
When I'm in a real hurry, sometimes the hurry is a big issue. The patience is never. But these are fundamental flaws in a personality. You can't. You just have to go with it and try and use it positively. Like when you want to pee. I'll tell you, I don't know, are you an impatient person?
Sometimes, yes.
Okay, so real impatient people who are high degree impatient like I am, we open doors before they open, like lift doors, always. We shut the car door, somebody's leg is still in while I start the car, always will happen. So you'll know if these kind of patterns.
You know what I do? I noticed this, somebody told me about this like day before yesterday. So I order food at home quite often, right? Mm-hmm. I sit in one room in my house, and right before the food is about to come, when I see the guy is inside my building, I'll go and wait and sit in the hall.
So that he thinks, what a well put together person, hanging out in the hall waiting for his food. What an astute man.
They all got our quirks here. I don't know. It doesn't really matter one way or the other.
No, it doesn't. But I just
But
thought that was
I'll
funny.
tell you, I learned from my good partner Kunal Vijayakar, a heterosexual male, as people don't often understand and believe.
I feel like every time you say Kunal's name, you find it necessary to say
But
that.
you know, who I just met
because
somebody.
he's always angry, and I'm always trying to tell him when we work so much, including shows, events, which sometimes are very peaceful, and he's just angry. I don't know why. I'm not able to crack that. Why he just doesn't get into a happy space.
So I met somebody.
I think he needs to masturbate more. I just can't.
I met somebody who lived in your building for a short period of time. So I didn't know that they had an apartment in your building. They live somewhere else, but they have an apartment in your building. So he
Just tell me the floor.
I don't know the floor. He was telling me he when he first saw Kunal, he thought Kunal lived in your house.
Yeah, but Kunal, now you know the Iranis have taken a lot of responsibility, Baman's family. But there was a time he lived in my house when his father quit the job and all that and moved to Juhu. He actually lived in my house as in we gave him a room.
Oh, really? Okay.
At that time, I wasn't married, so my sister had left.
No,
so we had one extra room.
this was like 5 years ago. So 5 years
So
ago,
he's there
when
all
he
the time.
first saw like Kunal there in your building, he saw him so often.
On busy months, he's there more than me.
Yeah.
So there have been months when I travel and all that, and he actually is there more than me. Every evening, he stays in my house for some reason.
Yeah.
We do give him
That's
a salary.
that's called living in the house.
We do give him a salary. No, but my point is, he comes to work angry. So there are people like that. I'm sure you all know it. It's one, and then there's no value to the anger because you're angry all the time. Kajol, you look like an angry person. Are you
I am
angry all
not
the
an
time?
angry person at all,
When was
Cyrus.
the last time you spat at someone?
I did not spit at people.
Are you a fan of spitting at people?
I love it. I think it's the
great,
Indian
right?
way. If you lose that, we lost everything. For me, that is the last sense of being Indian. I love it when I see a Lexus pull over and one guy goes pook out of it. For me, I'm going to miss it because people are getting better. Your generation, the ones that follow this Z or Sony TV, whatever generation it's called, they're going to be very politically correct. They will not spit. It's like the Irani cafe. They'll go because the next generation won't run it. They're in Australia doing MBAs. So that's the way it is.
That's too sad,
It's all
man.
going, man. You're taking away my spitter. Like I can show my kids, see? He can buy and sell us in 5 minutes. But
Well,
see,
how can you get over spitting?
I love it. I just love
I think we need to encourage
Listen,
spitting.
I have worked with people who spit as a matter of fact while talking. They'll be like, Cyrus, एक काम करो, हम लोग इधर से शॉट ले रहा है ना, और फिर आपकी जो एंट्री ना उस तरफ से, हाँ, और फिर आपका look ऐसा, and he's on my left shoe, it's on my right shoe, it's on my face by now, completely finished, and he's just oblivious to it. It's lovely. It's a way of life. Don't judge, bro. You judge too much.
It builds immunity.
The last mail comes from Dinkar. Since you've mentioned your jet miles so many times,
Oh, man.
he says, as an ex-Jet Airways employee, I want to help Cyrus with his earned miles. JP miles are owned by Etihad and can be used to redeem for fuel at IOC bunks, airline ticket, hotel bookings, etc.
What airline tickets?
No, but you're not
I
getting
have a lot of
I
jet
went through
miles.
the,
I'm
no,
not being able to
it's
get
not.
airlines.
It's not equal.
No,
Then what is the point? You see,
you're not even being able to convert right now.
In terms of share market, my share is fallen.
But
So
can you convert also? I can.
you may be able to convert because even Faisal, my guy who
I know
runs
Faisal,
Fourways
yeah.
and all that, he said you can do it, but you're losing money on the deal. Okay, so let's say if the value was 1 rupee, it's now 30 paisa. Well, that's not good, man.
No, it's not good, but at least I can get something.
Yeah,
Then
it's
you look at it that way,
30
cut your losses. It's like demonetization. Abbas had all that money.
Ah.
What are you going to do with it? And then, finally, so you cut your losses. You got 70
Yeah.
on the rupee,
Yeah.
and you took it.
Yeah.
Because how much, you got 80 on the rupee, right?
85.
85, right. But I told you, brothels aren't in fashion anymore. And male brothels, really, how many customers are you getting? Have you seen the Indian mail?
Which is why you told the hooker a joke instead of giving her money.
I'm a cheap guy. I got him spat. He surely did.
That's all the questions.
That's
we have.
all. Kajol, thank you so much. It was very entertaining. The hatred for bikers. I think, we've bonded today. I see you as a soulmate. And, if ever we need a lawyer, you know why.
I know why.
Okay, folks, great news for me, not so much for you. We're going thrice a week. We're not repeating shows. We're going on thrice a week, 2 regular shows and a new one, the birth of a new one called Land So, Left Arm Not So Orthodox. It's talking cricket. 2 great minds talking cricket. One who has never played the game and the other, relatively less inexperienced. The one and only, what's my name? Cyrus Brocha. Land So. New episodes every Wednesday. Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you, we need you. Send us your questions on Twitter, on Cyrus Says In. Or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
And that's what Cyrus says.
Hey Krupa, check out my beatboxing. Boots and cat and boots and cat
man,
and
please
boots
stop.
and cats. Alright, check out my singing.
No, I'm serious, stop.
But why?
Because you're genuinely bad and because you've got actual talent to showcase. Presenting the ATKT Talent Time podcast where I, Krupa,
An IP man, chat with some immensely talented college students about the fun part of college, like freshers' life, the music and poetry scene, side hustles for college students.
and the not so fun like weird dress codes, hostel deadlines, and ragging.
New episodes every Tuesday on the IVM Podcast app, the IVM Podcast website, and wherever else you get your podcasts from. Hey Krupa, check out my poetry. Roses are red,
No.
violets
No,
are blue.
no.
You are special.
Please stop.
Janice, what do you think couples did before TV was invented?
I don't know, go for walks on the beach, long drives, fancy dinners, have more sex maybe?
But what did we do when we decided to move in together? We debated between the Chromecast and the Fire Stick.
We gave up on sleeping early so we could stay up watching true crime shows.
We got ourselves 3 cat babies.
And basically became the cutest couch potatoes around.
Okay then.
In case you guys still haven't got it, we are a TV crazy, Netflix loving, binge watching Mr. and Mrs.
I'm Anirudh Kuha.
I'm Janice Sequeira.
And if like us, you snort TV for breakfast, lunch and dinner, this is the podcast for you.
Tune in every Thursday on the IVM Podcast app or wherever it is that you get your podcast from. This is
Mr.
and Mrs.
Binge Watch.